Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, my name is Dave Scott. Indy Pederson, author, researcher, ufologist, is here tonight to talk about UFOs, nuclear sites, and what humanity holds in the future with ET contact. We're going to get to him in just a little bit, but first we want to say hello to each and every one of you, including Kitty Caddywhack in the gold medal position, Eternity Eternal with a silver, Necessary Dialogue with a bronze medal tonight. Trucker Andrew, how you doing? Nice to see you. As we kick off roll call, there's Michael Morris, our attorney at large. T-Bone, my man, how are you? Road Flare, what's up? And Mel WD40 is here, lubing us up for tonight's show, because you cannot talk aliens and UFOs without being nice and lubed. Thank you, Mel. Don't forget to give yourself a little shot as well. Kurt M., how you doing tonight? Race fan, nice to see you. As we kick off the brand new week, Mama Catherine, there she is. Mwah. I love you, my dear. I hope you had a great day. We're going to get a good week going here, and we're going to have some fun. What in Tarnation is here? What in Tarnation will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, Frankie B., nice to have you both here. As we scroll on down on our roll call side for Kathy Evans. Good to see you, Kathy. And Gear Jammer, nice to have you here. People Unite, how you doing? Welcome. As we continue on with our roll call, Desert Rat, nice to see you. And Kitty, thank you so much for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very, very much. John Jackson, how you doing? Gary J., nice to see you. As we scroll on down on our roll call here. And as we get going and going and going some more, and then going again, Missouri Man, nice to see you. Shane Gord, always a pleasure. Walter Kochabinski, and number 3 in your program tonight, starting at left wing from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. There he is. Moving on down. And who else do we have here? Well, let's just take a peek. JP Six Gunner is here. JP will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Be gentle. This is JP's first time signing autographs, so don't push him too hard. Mark SRT Wolf, how you doing? Undead Jed, nice to see you. Honest Content, Skip to my Lou. Nice to have you both here. Hi there, Morwick and Pam Harris. Thank you for joining us as we continue on. And who else do we have here? Well, let's take a little peek here. Alien Critter, everybody. Thank you for coming on in. Millennium, my man. Nice to see you. J Truth, always a pleasure. And who else do we have here? Be done with it. How you doing, man? Goot. Always a pleasure to have the Goot here. Don't flare up tonight. I promise you. It's going to be a good show. 0 flares tonight. Oob to Joe's Main. You've got aliens. And who else do we have here? Search and Destroy. Been a while. Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you here. And We're caught up. We are caught up. Nice. Let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in for author Indy Pederson. We're going to get into some UFO talk tonight. We're at roll call on our YouTube side, about 45 seconds away from launch. We say hello to Super Crazy. We say hello to Jeff Steve Garvey. He's here. He'll hit a home run for you. And who else is showing up here? Let's take a little peek. There's Jeff Steve Garvey and Super Crazy. Lotus Spider, thank you for joining us tonight. There we are. Super Chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Hi, Divine Diamond. How are you? And do not forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out. And Athena, nice to have you back. It is that time of the night. I want you to all warm up your fingers. Get them nice and loose. Nice and loose. Because it's time to throw those horns up, everybody. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the really happening news. We're together, my friends. Oh. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. Come join us at little old 108 Mile Ranch, right in the heart of the Caribou of British Columbia for Caribou Con, September 18th through 20th. It's going to be a great event. Join us at cariboucon.com. We have an amazing show tonight. Author, researcher Indy Pederson is going to join us. We are going to talk about UFOs and their connection. He used to be somebody who didn't believe in it. And we're going to find out what turned him in just a little bit of time. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will join us for another spooky story. Then we'll follow that up. Grant Baker will be here for the UFO report. With congressional hearings on UFOs drawing mainstream attention, growing bipartisan calls to declassify UFO files, and renewed public fascination with what the government may know about unexplained aerial phenomena, author and researcher Indy Pederson is bringing a provocative perspective to the conversation. Having experienced a UFO encounter himself, Indy's work challenges conventional assumptions and explores questions that reach far beyond the standard disclosure narrative. Indy is the author of Sacrificing Humanity, a thought-provoking examination of military history, religious prophecy, symbolism, emerging technology, and humanity's uncertain future. A researcher, designer, and visual storyteller, Indy combines decades of study, firsthand interviews, and personal visionary experiences to investigate what he believes are some of the most critical issues facing civilization today. His website, sacrificinghumanity.com. Indy Pederson, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited that you're here because, you know, anytime we could get a different look at UFOs, I think it is something that we need to look at. Now, you're a person who really kind of fell into this subject. You didn't believe in UFOs.
No, I didn't. No. When I purchased an island property down in Patagonia, the locals told me it was a known UFO base, and I laughed. I thought it was hilarious because I didn't believe in UFOs because nobody could get a decent picture of one, even though there's pictures on everything else on the planet. They're nice and clear, but the UFO pictures are always blurry. And they always supposedly came light years and crashed here. Although both of those things have been explained in the recent disclosure movement, the Hal Puthoff, the physicist, explained they're in a space-time bubble, so your photography is trying to go through that, so that's why they're blurry. And then the other thing in terms of how they're crashing, the director, two witnesses, one in the Behold a Pale Horse, Cooper, he first said it was radar that was knocking them down, and he's close. The director of The Age of Disclosure, not to be confused with Spielberg's film, but this is the documentary, The Age of Disclosure, which has got a dozen of our top leaders in it, including our Secretary of State, Rubio. In there, the director had interviewed all these very powerful, important people, and they told him that they were intentionally knocking these down with EMP, mostly, and the bases down there near Roswell. So he was shocked that we're knocking a superior in terms of technology race down, and what the ramifications of that is. I think it's hubris on an unbelievable level. So
Kind of makes you wonder if we're upsetting them, because
yeah,
you shoot down enough of them, that's usually where they're going to come down here and have a bad day.
yeah, I wouldn't want to upset someone with technology that defies our modern physics.
You being a non-believer of this subject and then turning into a believer, how did the rudimentary study of all of this change for you?
Well, it happened in phases. At the first phase, when the locals, more than one, told me directly, this is a known UFO base that you're trying to buy property on, and I ignored them because that was the first phase. But I witnessed the largest cattle mutilation in South American history, where hundreds of cows and sheep were mutilated, and dozens in one single night directly across the narrow fjord from my island. And I was there when it happened. I was there with two investors who were looking into my, I was building a $60 million resort project, and they were looking into that, and they were there at the time. And we saw all these cows and sheep that were cored out with surgical precision, perfect round circles on their eyes and their genitals and their anuses, and cauterized, and no blood. The blood was all sucked out of them. And it's a really illustrative example, if I've got a few minutes, because it disproves all the existing theories. For those who think that they've got some other theory other than UFOs, I will disabuse you of those notions with the following examples that make this unique. Because of the area in Patagonia, a common explanation up in Colorado, for instance, well, it's the US military doing radiation tests on cows, or biological testing on cows, or something to that effect. That's one explanation. Well, that doesn't work in Patagonia, because of the 20 years I've been working, I have corporations down there, the 20 years I was down there, everyone knew when the US military was there. They'd show up in Valparaiso with their ships off the coast, and their gringos would be in with their short haircuts in Starbucks drinking caramel macchiatos. Everyone knew, everyone. So that's out. The Chilean military, well, that's ruled out too, because they're massively underfunded, and they don't, and I've never seen them in the 20 years I was down there in that region. They don't have the budget to be playing around with hundreds of cows and sheep. So the other explanations, well, it's devil worshippers, or it's pranksters, or someone pulling stunts. Well, that's ruled out because it happened in the Chilean winter in the rainforest. So there's a dirt road, Camino Austral, and there's the locals in that part of the Camino Austral where it's dirt. They know each other, all family. And so they know if anyone comes into the region, and you wouldn't be able to bring in a bunch of Satanists and pull this stunt off. The other thing is, because it's winter in the rainforest, you can't take one step without sinking this deep in the muck. So that's ruled out. Well, how about helicopters? How about that? Well, we tried to get a helicopter down there for a TV show, a big one, and the producer of the show was working on it, and I was working on it, others were working on it, and it took a couple days to get one down there. I don't think pranksters are going to go through that effort. But the clincher, here's the clincher, is at the same time, there was orbs and lights, UFO lights, zipping around. At the same time, their cows were being sucked of their blood, desanguinated. So it caused a psychosis, una psicosis colectiva in Espanol, a mass psychosis amongst the locals, such that the Chilean government had to come all the way to 1,300 miles down to the south with their equivalent of the agriculture department, SAG, and others, to investigate it, because they were the locals were in a panic. It was literally on every TV station. So like on VTR, which is like a cable provider, which has has CNN now. It didn't have CNN at the time, but 24 Horas and Canal 13 and all the major news stations ran this with picture after picture after picture of the brutal. They almost needed to change their rating to R, because when you show cows' anuses and sex organs being cored out, it's pretty gory. And it's literally like a geological sample, a core sample being, taken out, and is cauterized. And Linda Moulton Howe, who I've talked to on a phone interview about this, she was one of the first ones to do a documentary on this. And so, it's real. But it's interesting, at that time, I still did not believe. I was sitting there for hours till really late in the night with these two other investors going, what could this possibly be? And we're going through all the possibilities and knocking them off one by one. And all we were left with is UFOs. And I said, well, I don't believe in UFOs. I'm sorry. It can't be that. So, but that was a starting point. And then I actually had one of the UFOs come 2 feet from my face, closer than I believe any human who lived to tell about it. The Stanford pathologist, the famous one, Gary Nolan, who in the congressional hearings is I don't know how long you want me to go on this, but I'll
keep going. I want to hear this UFO story too.
Okay, so Gary Nolan, he's a famous Stanford pathologist he's working as a consultant. He's very specific. He says, I'm not in the case. I'm just a consultant. So that's an important word choice there. He's working as a consultant with the families who are injured. So their loved ones are injured. So these orbs and UFOs show up above a nuclear launch control site, with the ICBM down here in the ground, and the orb shows up, and they send the guys out to see why this orb or this craft is interrupting or taking control of their systems. And they do it in a number of ways. They've changed the launch codes, they've shut down the systems, but in totality, and I'll get to this in a minute, they've caused quite a number of near launches, including missileers that I interviewed personally, where they told me that there's 3 of them I interviewed. I interviewed a lot of people, lieutenant colonels in Cheyenne Mountain, 2 generals in Cheyenne Mountain. I interviewed officials at Bangor. I was in an underground launch control center in Missouri. I interviewed Colonel Yablonsky, head of START agreements in Moscow. Anyway, a lot more. I won't list them all. The list is, you can see the list in Sacrificing Humanity. But the missileers were the most frightening, because they testified that they were witnessing a what looked like on the computers a nuclear war was underway. That's what it looked like to them. It wasn't a test. It was real. And they had nervous mental breakdowns over it. And one was telling me the story and the other two were nodding their heads. Yes, we were there. We saw it. Now, the official story as well as a computer glitch. Right? I used to contract at Google, and computers do not glitch. That's a terrible word choice, because they do what they're programmed to do unless some outside force takes them over, like a hacker, or in this case, a UFO, which is what is happening. So Gary Nolan was contracting with these families that are suing the federal government. And as Nancy Mason said in the best of the three hearings, how is it the government, the Pentagon, denying that we have recovered craft when we are paying huge sums of money for people who've been injured by recovered craft? That's a paradox. So Gary Nolan was the one who was studying these people, their brains, because of these 100 people, 25 of them died at much farther distances than the one that was right 2 feet in front of my face. And the others had serious brain damage, similar to Havana syndrome. And that when you look at the brain through scans, it turns white and it's permanent. So it's horrible. But this also came up in the congressional hearings as well, in that not all of these orbs and UFOs do that. Some do and some don't. I was lucky in that the one I experienced 2 feet in front of my face did not. So I'm here perfectly cognizant, I hope. So if you want to hear about the orb story, I can tell you about that.
I got to hear this story. I have to.
All right. So I'm partially getting to become a believer because of the cattle mutilation experience and debating with the two investors for hours and trying. We weren't debating. We were trying to figure it out, and we were all kind of coming to, well, it can't be anything else but a UFO, but none of us believed in them. So anyway, so the next event that happened for me that was a clincher that proves to me that the locals telling me it's a known UFO base, this island, was when my business partner in that project and I were driving up the Camino Austral from the island. And it's 3 a.m. and I've got a 1,300-mile drive ahead of me to Valparaiso. And I'm driving like crazy. And there's nobody. We saw the town of Cisnes was completely empty when we went through it. And we drove north for a long ways. And so we're hundreds of miles from any human being, anywhere. And this Camino Austral opened up a territory. They call it Pinochet's folly, and they don't pronounce it Pinochet in Chile, like French, because it's an Andes Mountain Fjord, Andes Mountain Fjord, Andes Mountain Fjord. It's impossible territory, and it opened up territory that formerly was with gauchos that lived like thousands of years ago with their herds and completely nomadic and living off the land. And they dress and look like it, and you try to take their picture and they get really upset, but they look comical because it's like looking at someone back in time. So we're driving up this road at 3 a.m. and no one's within 100 miles of us. So we stop in the middle of the national park in the winter, and we're just getting our beds ready. Her and my business partner is a female in the back. It's a club cab, and me in the front. Put my pillow next to the passenger window, and then she goes, "Look at that!" And there's this star-looking thing zipping around like this and doing weird flying, and then it would dissolve. It would materialize and dematerialize. It would literally disappear at times. Scientists are trying to explain that, and that something to do with space-time continuums, and that they're literally skipping somehow. But I witnessed that, and then it's almost like it's communicating with us because we're looking at it and it sees us looking at it. That's how kind of I viewed this, and it sees us looking at it. So it comes to the tree right next to us at the top of it. And it sits there a while. And this all happened in 15 minutes. So it rolls out ball lightning, gone. It rolls out piezoelectric effect, gone. And then you're left with UFO. I don't know how else you'd explain this. So it hovers on the top of the tree. Then it intelligently navigates. There's a tight space between the trees there and where my truck is pulled in. And it's navigating between the trees and the truck, and comes right down to where my pillow is at the passenger window right in front of me. And I'm looking inside of this thing, and I can see the engine that runs it. That's how close it was. It was literally 2 feet in front of my face. I think it's closer than any human is, at least that I know of, that has seen one of these and lived to tell about it. And you see that I saw this like churning fusion, almost like liquid metal churning reaction going on inside it. And it looked very powerful to me. It looked like it was a really powerful engine that was powering this thing. And when the people get zapped by these, it proves how powerful it is, because they go out and, they literally get killed or serious brain damage from them. So it's got a lot of power in it. And while I'm sitting there looking inside of this, it starts to transform size and shape. So there's a lot more in this orb than it appears. The orb itself is about this. It's a little smaller than basketball. It's about the size of a bowling ball, which is 1 inch smaller than a basketball. And that's about the exact size of it. It's a perfect sphere. The outside of it is not like glass. It's amorphous. So and you can see into the whole thing. And you can see all this churning going on inside of it. And believe me, I studied this thing when I was staring at it. But then it started changing shape and size, and that's when I freaked out. I had never seen anyone who had described this anywhere until the disclosure movement with whistleblowers doing these massive data dumps. And in one of the data dumps, it's called, people can look it up, it's called amorphous orb. And it's in one of the data dumps of a whistleblower, and it does exactly what I saw. And I was finally somebody else saw the same thing, and they filmed it on video. It's on video.
I want to ask you, so we got about 90 seconds to go before we go to break. Indy Pederson is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. How did you feel when the orb was that close to you? Because a lot of people will feel that they feel something changing in their body, and they feel almost some sort of physical change to them. Did you feel anything with that, or was it just?
Oh, yeah, definitely. When it started transforming into a torso and a head and materializing like Scotty beam me up, and all of a sudden it was a being, which wouldn't be human, it would be alien by definition, was materializing in front of me. I had a fear on a level that I've never experienced in my life. So I jumped from where I was about to lie down into the driver's seat, and I started that truck and drove it like my partner was going, "Just stop, you're gonna kill us." But it was fear. But when it was close, when it was just the orb, there was no heat, there was no sound, it was completely silent, and I was looking inside of it.
Oh my. Well, what did it look like inside again?
It's like a churning liquid motion going on inside, almost like some sort of fusion reaction, or it's like it's electrical and liquid metal. It's hard to explain, but it looked very powerful. Whatever it was doing with that engine had a lot of power to it, in my opinion.
Indy, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because I want to continue this story when we return for the second half hour on Spaced Out Radio. Man, I've had some close encounters. I've never had orbs that close to my face where I can look inside of them. I want to find out more about this. Author Indy Pederson is our guest. SacrificingHumanity.com is his website. where you can find his book, Sacrificing Humanity, Volume 1. The UFO is a portent of nuclear war. We'll get into that and more next. All right, we're clear. Good start, Indy.
Thank you.
Start.
Any suggestions?
Oh, just maybe a hug after you're done. That's about it.
All right. How much time do we have on this break?
We got about another 5 minutes.
Okay.
You want to take a break? You're more than welcome.
No, I'm fine. I'll take a break on the longer one.
Now, have you read all of those books behind you?
That's even only a tiny part. I've got a dedicated library room that's 6 shelves that high, floor to ceiling, wall to wall, and they roll. So you crank them, and they
No
go
way.
in between. No, and then
That's
another
awesome.
room over here. So every room in the house is full of books.
That is awesome. How much do you enjoy this subject now of UFOs?
I enjoy talking about it. I did not enjoy experiencing it. It was shattered my paradigm completely. Like Humpty Dumpty never put back together again. It was horrible.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to view the world anymore. I had a traditional Christian paradigm, and I don't even know what to make of it all now.
You get used to it, man.
So you've been through that?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
You get used to it, and you look at people differently. You look at people with a different view about how blind they are, and then you realize that you just shut the hell up and let them do their life. You know,
Yeah.
I remember, it's funny, I had this conversation just a couple of weeks ago, and for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, you know, I kept feeling like I had to try and convince people, you know, that they were wrong and I was right. And, you know, if I was in a one-on-one conversation, you know, and I'd tell them the stories about why I experienced, they'd be like, yeah, but where's your proof? Where's your proof? But you got to take my word for it. And finally, I just said, you know what? I don't care anymore. I just don't care. I know what I've experienced. I know what I've seen.
So what conclusion did you come to as to why they're here and what their motives are? Have you come to any conclusion on that?
No, I'm still trying to figure out the why me aspect. I lived a happily boring life before this.
Yeah, well, I know why me, because I bought that island.
All I know is that if I ever get the opportunity to finish my book, that's my title. The End of My Happily Boring Life.
Oh, okay. So you have no idea what their motives are, or why?
No.
Huh.
No.
I'm trying to figure that out myself.
I just I'm out of practice now, but if I go back 10 years ago, anything I wanted to manifest, I could make happen. It was pretty magnificent. If I wanted to see Bigfoot, I put it out there and I saw Bigfoot. If I wanted to see UFOs, I'd invite friends over to my house. Hey, come on over. Let's have a beer on the patio and watch the UFOs fly over.
Oh,
We're
wow.
not talking little dots in the sky. We're talking like major shit, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure it out. And to me, the best evidence is that all the U.S. feds that showed up after I purchased that island, and Linda Moulton Howe told me if that island's a known UFO base, there's no way they're going to let you own it. And they've done everything to sabotage it. They sabotaged a Fed wormed his way into my corporation and sabotaged a $35 million sale to a very wealthy billionaire family estate here in the U.S.
Well, we'll get to that here coming up. We got about 45 seconds.
Okay.
And we shall get to that. And thank you tonight to Kitty Caddywhack, our lone super chatter of the night. We greatly appreciate you, Kitty. So thank you very, very much. Also, if you haven't already, do us a favor, give us a thumbs up. It helps with our algorithms. If you're listening on the podcast side, please give us a follow. It also helps to leave a review. Hopefully we're good enough to get one. And you know how it works. John Allen, how are you tonight? Good to have you here. We're coming back in about 10 seconds. 10 seconds. And here we go, everybody. Here we go with the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in as we have Indy Pederson talking UFOs tonight, an incredible close encounter that he had. We'll get to that momentarily. But first, we are going to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Indy Pederson is here. Sacrificinghumanity.com is his website where you can find his book, Sacrificing Humanity, Volume 1. The UFO is a portent of nuclear war. And right before the break, you were talking about this close encounter you had with these orbs that you could see inside of them and almost see like this plasma type of liquid moving within them because you were only a couple feet away from this. How did it change you? Like, what is going through your mind as you're watching this firsthand?
Yeah, it was literally 2 feet in front of me. So I saw the electrical plasma like power system inside of it, staring inside of it. It completely changed my view of the world. And I've never been the same since. It was like Humpty Dumpty, and I haven't been put back together again, trying to figure out their motive and why they're here and all these other things. But it's completely shattered my Weltanschauung, as the Germans say. My paradigm of the world is not the same anymore.
Did you have any missing time to go along with that?
No, none. No, I was totally cognizant. And again, I'm fortunate that this was not one of the orbs or UFOs that Gary Nolan had studied that of the 25 that died or had serious brain damage of the rest of the 100. So I'm very lucky in that sense.
Did it feel like you had any side effects from this happening after the event, which probably seemed like it would lasting an hour, but only lasted probably seconds? Did you have any side effects?
Actually, the whole encounter lasted 15 minutes from the time we first saw it zipping around. That's why it rolls out the ball lightning and piezoelectric effect in this case, because of the time, and it clearly showed intelligence, knowing where we were and navigating the tight spot between the tree and the truck and coming right to the place where my head was on the side window of the truck. So all those things roll out those 2 other possibilities.
You look at it as this was supposed to be your eye opener, that this was your time for the phenomena to contact you and say, hey, Indy, it's time for you to wake up.
It scared the hell out of me. I've never been so scared in my life when it started changing to a form of it looked like it was transforming into an alien, just like that amorphous orb that was done released in the whistleblower data dump recently, but exactly the same, where it's forming a torso and a head and is materializing like something out of Star Trek's, being beamed up somewhere, and it's almost like the orb is carrying a lot more than the small size looks like it could carry. So it's materializing into a being from that. And as it was taking a torso and head, I freaked out and didn't wait for the rest of it to materialize and to see exactly what it was going to end up looking like. And I drove like crazy.
How long did your panic last?
All the way. Matter of fact, me and my business partner in the back, because we were going to sleep. Before this happened, we were just about to. Didn't say a word other than her. She's a woman screaming in the back because the way I was driving on the road, as if like a cockroach trying to outrun something that can do Mach 14. But I didn't say a word until I reached the next ferry crossing on this dirt road, and I had to stop. And there's a few vehicles there waiting for the next ferry crossing, but that's a long way. It was a long, very long drive. And then when I did stop, I said, "What the hell was that?"
Right. At that point, do you just kind of say, as you're evaluating it, because you're a pretty studious guy, you're a very technical, scientific guy, how did the analytics of what happened happen for you?
What do you mean by how did the analytics
Well, how
happen?
did you analyze the situation to try and run it through your head?
Well, I looked at every aspect of it, and it's obvious when it's 2 feet in front of you that it can't. Because I looked up ball lightning. I said, well, can it be ball lightning? And then it's ball lightning is very short lived. Same thing with the piezoelectric effect, and plus this shows intelligence clearly, because it knows exactly where I am and comes down, it navigates all the because it's rather difficult to get down through the trees and
Yes.
to the side window from the top of the tree, and then navigates down around right to the side window. So it shows intelligence. So it was very clear to me what it was after I saw it. So I went from a non-believer when I bought the island, and the locals said, this is a known UFO base. And they emphasized the word known. That was the operative word, a known UFO base. So I went from laughing when they said that to sort of thinking, well, what could this cattle mutilation be? And ruled out because of where it is. It's an extremely illustrative example, because anyone who can come up with the theories in Colorado, those same theories don't apply in Patagonia. I'm sorry. It rules them all out for the reasons I went through earlier. And so that was the next phase. And then the final phase was when having one of them come 2 feet from my face. The same things that were causing the una psicosis colectiva of the people in Coyhaique and Cisnes and the whole region there, that literally was causing a mass panic. Much worse than COVID, because these things were coming and taking their cows and desanguinating them, and then the chupacabras is a word that Chileans use.
Yes.
Which they fly around in craft that make a hum like a refrigerator, which is, they make virtually no sound. The one when it was just hovering right in front of me was making no sound at all. But apparently when they're zipping around, they make a refrigerator sound, because that's what the locals all say. And then they come down in these craft and suck the blood out of their cows, or suck them up, and the cows disappear. So like at the what was the ranch in a Skinwalker Ranch, where
Skinwalker,
where his cow is running at high speed through the snow, no tracks chasing it, and you can tell it's running all out, and then all of a sudden the tracks disappear. Now you can't just lasso a cow from a helicopter going full blast. I don't know. I like to see someone try that or demonstrate that. But it just disappeared. Nothing was chasing it, and the tracks and cow both just gone. That's another hot zone. By the way, in the congressional hearings, they talked about hot zones.
Yes.
And it's really interesting that Epstein bought a house in one of the hottest hot zones that you can possibly get, which is, here's Dulce right here, and then here's Roswell. And if you draw a straight line between the hottest hot zone right now in hot zones, Dulce, and the older one, Roswell,
Yes.
straight line, Epstein's place is dead center between those.
Interesting. I never knew that.
With 100 miles on each side. And here's a clincher. Juliet Bryant and Maria Farmer both saw UFOs and testified to that fact. Juliet Bryant had testified on a number of shows that she saw one of those triangular UFO crafts with all the lights on it come down really low at Epstein's ranch, Zorro Ranch. And Maria Farmer painted one in her famous, what's it called, Septiles, where she has all those reptilians down at the bottom of it. Yeah, it's all full of reptilians, and it's got a UFO in it. Everyone should go out and see that painting. It's extremely instructive. You just study that painting for about a half an hour or more. There's enough in there to. She instead of testifying openly, she put it in a painting, because a lot of the whistleblowers ended up dead, suicide, of course, from a lot of drugs they were being given. Yeah, so a lot of them. And
let me ask you this, if you don't mind. What do you think a UFO is?
Well, there's two different types. There's the orbs, and then there's the craft, and they're related somehow, and I don't know exactly how. When I was at Google, there was a lime green book that I kept on seeing the cover of everywhere, and I said, "What's that book?" It's Three Body Problem. Have you ever read that book?
No, I have not.
It was made into a Netflix series, and then it's a Chinese book written by an unpronounceable Chinese name. That it's a 3-volume series, and I swear the guy must have worked in intelligence or something, because he understood these craft and the orbs better than anyone I've ever read. And it's all fiction, of course. But it was really popular at Google, I tell you. Everyone was reading that book before it became a TV series. And the Chinese version of the two, if you're going to watch it as a movie, the Chinese version is more accurate to the book than the Netflix. They changed a bunch of things. But in that, the orbs can go right through things. And Lou Elizondo, who testified in the congressional hearing, wrote a book. It was called Imminent, I think it was called.
Imminent, yes.
Yeah. He wrote a book where one of these orbs, a very small one, went through one of our best tanks, through one side, out the other, and through the other side of another one, and out the other side. So went through 4 of the impenetrable tanks, walls, and just left a perfectly round hole going right through. And he was brought out to see that. And they said one of those orbs went through. Well, in the 3-body problem, those orbs do that. They literally destroyed some of our craft. They're splitting our fighter jet formations right down the center now. So they're getting very aggressive. I mean, if fighter jets are going and that comes, and they have to get out of the way. So that came up in the congressional hearings. The congressional hearings for me I wrote in my book, Sacrificing Humanity, that they're a Galileo moment, because we realize we're not the center of the universe anymore in those 3 hearings, especially the one hosted by Nancy Mace. That hearing you could not find for almost a year. After it aired live on C-SPAN, I tried to find it. I've had friends that tried to find it. It was gone. It just disappeared. It was like the most unsearchable C-SPAN event ever. But in that hearing, there's lots of things that came up. But in the 3 hearings in total, what I remember Nancy Mason at hearing, she said, I've been warned that when I put this Immaculate Constellation document that everyone should read, by the way, in the record, that I will be put on some FISA warrant out for me. She goes, "Come get me, bro." So she
I remember
was,
that. I had a good laugh with that one.
yeah. But what that document describes is them knowing that they have none of those videos and stuff have been released yet. So it's almost like the Epstein files, where initially the public has to get really outraged and say, those aren't the files, and repeatedly, to eventually another tranche and another tranche, and eventually the real. Then you finally get, in case of Epstein files, oh my gosh, it's shocking beyond belief. You can't even talk about some of the stuff on the radio, and I won't. But horrible things that they were doing. The jerky is when they're flying in for 6 to 8 ounces of jerky from London, and I can quote, if you want, quite a number of the files, because I read hundreds of the things. And one of the ones that was most shocking to me, especially for my partner, she said, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to hear any of this stuff." One of the most shocking, but I can say this on the radio, this one at least. I read the Epstein's emails himself. So what they put a lot of junk in the files so that it's plausible deniability. Oh, that's just garbage. So you can dismiss the whole thing. But I stuck just with the Epstein emails, his own emails to and from people going to him. And one that was really shocking to me, he's got this young girl, he doesn't say her age, but you can tell by his description that she's quite young. And she's in her bed, which is, as we know now, Epstein's bed. And she says, Epstein says, she's praying to Jesus to save her life. Whoops, WHOOPS, unquote. So he just basically admitted he killed her. I don't know how else to interpret it. How would you interpret that?
Goodness. I don't even want to think about it, because if I go down that rabbit hole, I'm going to get lost for a long time.
Yeah. So his friend responds to his Epstein's email, and he says, that's the Jesus I'm coming trick. So it's the second coming of Jesus, apparently.
Right.
So Jesus I'm coming trick, in quotes. Yeah. But there's a lot worse. Let
me just ask you this first, if you don't mind. A lot of people are out there thinking that the reason why the UFO files are coming out now is to cover up the files of JFK and Epstein, that they are, trying to hide what's in those files because they're a lot more politically damaging. What do you think about that?
Actually, I've got notes on that here. Just a minute. I normally speak off the top of my head, but this I have to speak from notes so I'm accurate. So if you excuse me for just 1 second, so I want to be very precise. So the National Security Act of 1947 was on July 26th, just days after Roswell, July 8th, and of the same year, the Roswell recovery. And that created the National Security Council and the CIA on September 18th, just a month and a half later. Catherine Austin Fitts informs us, quote, they literally had to kill the Secretary of Defense to do that. They assassinated Forrestal to get that done. They made the CIA the most powerful banker in the world on the covert side and in charge of Area 51 security. So JFK was a protege, and he said that. That even came out in Project Blue Book, which is a cover up, but that even came out. So he was a protege of Forrestal. So Forrestal shared with JFK a lot of the UFO secrets. And remember when JFK went to Forrestal's grave and made a very big scene about being filmed and that. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was a demonstration of what he knew. And then RFK, JFK put RFK in charge of digging into this group. And we know what happened to RFK, JFK, and Forrestal. They all ended up dead. Now there's 11 scientists. Actually, there's a lot more than that, but there's 11 scientists that the Congress is looking into that have been assassinated. And I've got a list on that as well, if you're interested.
Well, we got about 3.5 minutes before we go to break at the top of the hour. I guess Indy Pederson is here getting a little controversial, and I like it. I like it. Do you think the scientists are being terminated or going missing because of the UFO secret? Or do you think it's
absolutely. Absolutely. I can give you the evidence and back it up.
I want to hear that. I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Okay. You want to do it within the little bit of time?
Let's get her started right now. If we got to carry it over, we can.
All right. I'm going to go off of notes here on this. So Amy Estridge I'm going to list the 11. Amy Estridge, Experimental Propulsion, Advanced Concepts. Michael Hicks, NASA JPL scientist. Monica Risa, former director at NASA GPL Materials. She specialized to these craft. One of the things these craft do is they can handle 3,000 Gs. Our craft disintegrate at low double digits, according to the congressional hearing, just completely disintegrate. So, how is it these crafts? I remember, here's another example when I didn't believe in UFOs. For my business, I'm a pilot, and I have a air traffic control instrument pilot degree it's like the foundation of flying. You get both sides, and so you're better at understanding, where the air traffic controllers are coming from. So I have a degree in that. So I was taught by my instructor was at the Air Traffic Control Center for the entire Pacific Northwest. And he said that they had seen multiple times where they seen these craft do these right angle turns at speeds that were completely impossible according to our physics. Well, that came up in the congressional hearings. They're subjected to 3,000 Gs. Anyone who knows G forces, look that up. There's nothing that should be able to handle that. Well, this woman, that's her area of specialty, is these high-tech materials for spacecraft and so forth. Then you have General McCausland, former commander of Air Force Research.
Yes.
Frank Manuel, NASA engineer and space instrumentation. Melissa Cassius, Los Alamos. Anthony Chavez, Los Alamos. Nuno, I can't pronounce his last name, Murillo. Plasma physicists and nuclear fusion, which is what powers these things supposedly. And Carl, there's more. I won't go, astrophysicists. But I would like to talk about 3 of them and show how they just vanished with, like, hikers on a trail, and there's someone 30 feet in front of them, and all of a sudden she's gone, just in seconds. Gone.
Yeah. Well, we may have to hold off on that till our next hour, because I think people still have a love for that story. And here's the interesting part. Have you noticed recently the mainstream media has kind of died off in covering that subject? They were so hardcore into it for about a month and a half, 2 months, and now all of a sudden they seem to be vanishing. with
Yeah.
that topic. And it is important. You can't let this topic of the scientists, especially if it involves UFOs, you cannot let it just die. You have to run with it. Indy Pederson is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Sacrificinghumanity.com is his website. We're going to continue with the missing scientist next. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, Indy, we got about 5.5 minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Our merch is Bigfoot approved. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have socks, we have hats, we have stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can buy Spaced Out Radio merch and look the part? Our merch ain't ugly, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Lurking within the forested region of the 108-mile ranch, where the worlds of the normal and paranormal collide. CaribouCon is waiting for you, bringing together a panel of renowned experts in the paranormal, cryptid research, and UFO phenomena fields. Get ready for a spine-tingling weekend in the heart of British Columbia. Enjoy fascinating discussions, presentations, tours of local haunted areas, and skywatching. Learn from investigators, authors, and enthusiasts who explore everything from ghost hunting techniques to sightings of Sasquatch and beyond. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal researcher or just love a good spooky story, this is your chance to connect with fellow enthusiasts in one of BC's most mysterious areas. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. Visit cariboucon.com for details, tickets, and updates.
Are you ready to dive into the weird and wonderful world of cryptids, cartoons, and chaos? Meet Dirty Filth, Spaced Out Radio's resident cartoonist and master of the mysterious. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, join him live on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel for Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Filth, a hilarious hour where he sketches bizarre beasts, shares mind-bending stories, and battles his mischievous cats. Whether you're a UFO enthusiast, paranormal fan, or just love quirky art, Dirty Filth filters the universe through his unique lens, creating cartoons that capture the strange, dark, and supernatural. Follow Dirty Filth on X at Filth1 or Facebook at Dear Filth for more filthy fun. Find his link in the description below.
Spaced Out Radio wants to hear from you. We love our community, and your voice truly matters. Drop a comment after every show and let us know what you thought. Agree with our guests? Tell us why. Disagree? We want to hear that too. We read every single comment. Jump into the live chat during the broadcast and be part of the conversation in real time. Got a killer topic idea? Your suggestions help shape the show. And if you want to take it even further, join our Patreon for bonus content and direct feedback opportunities with Dave and the team. This is your show as much as it is ours. Whether you're a longtime listener or brand new, we want your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. And let's keep building this incredible community together. Spaced Out Radio, where the conversation never ends. What are you waiting for? We're listening.
with 5 explorable Gold Rush era buildings said to be home to spirits of a time forgotten. The 108-mile heritage site in the heart of BC's Caribou region offers a unique opportunity for thrill seekers and history buffs. For an evening of historical fun, step into our guided ghost tours, where spine-chilling stories of Gold Rush legends and unexplained encounters come alive. For those craving even more, inquire with us about conducting a hands-on paranormal investigation of your own. And if you're truly brave, book our haunted sleepovers. Spend the night at our B&B inside the McNeil House to truly experience this historical landmark and its ghostly secrets firsthand. For booking or inquiries, go to haunted108.com.
All right, let us quickly say hello to Bobby Broadway. How you doing? Nice to have you here. Bigfoot Fades, how you doing? Nice to see you. And who else has jumped in here? We're going to scroll on up. Jessica S. Nice to have you here. Magnus for Magnuson, how you doing, buddy? We're 15 seconds away. Commonwealth Andrew, good morning. Feed Me Seymour, how you doing? Nice to see you. Alien Fields, nice to have you here. And here we go, everybody. All right, we are into hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is Widdershins. Widdershins is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam says the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our guest tonight is author Indy Pederson. Sacrificing Humanity, Volume 1. The UFO is a portent of nuclear war. But before we get to that, let us get into the science of this all, because there have been, over the last few months, a number of scientists and military officials who have seemed to go missing. And the one tie that they have together is UFOs. Indy, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
You were going to pick 3 of the most important cases that tells a story about what's happening here.
Yeah, Monica Reza is one of the best examples, because she was hiking with her 2 companions, and one of them was just 30 feet, not 30 yards, 30 feet in front of her, turned around, waved, and in a second she was gone. And they found her hat down a cliff. They searched, one of the most extensive searches ever, according to the search and rescue people, for a long time, and dogs couldn't find any scent, no body, nothing. And she just vanished. It's almost like, can I quote a scripture on the air?
Sure, go right ahead.
It's a really interesting one. This is 2 Kings, and there's one of the Vatican guy who had access to the Vatican archives, old archives, and translated for the official Vatican Church, a Hebrew scholar. He says that the word spirit sometimes in the Old Testament, it means in essence to be spirited away, kind of like caught up in the wind or something else. And if you read 2 Kings 16, and he said unto them, behold, there will be thy servants 50 strong men. So they sent out 50, kind of like what they did with these scientists in every one of these cases. Let them go, we pray them, and seek thy master, because their master disappeared. And peradventure the Spirit of the Lord hath taken him up. So if you read that as he was spirited away, and taken up, and cast him unto some mountain. And then they urged him, because he was ashamed, and he said, well, go ahead, send them in, go look. And they sent them 50 men, and they sought for 3 days and found him not. Well, that's what's happening in these cases. Same thing. So they searched extensively. In the previous case, the SAR president, search and rescue president, Delina Van Brighton or something like that. She said it was one of the most difficult searches I've ever been on. And I've been on hundreds, she said. She described going through thigh-deep mud, dense willow thickets, beaver ponds, extremely slow travel, dog search teams were exhausted when they had drones, anything. So 3 days of that. And then they don't go up the cliff area, and they find her hat down there on the cliff, but no body. And then there's also General McCaslin. That's another interesting one. His wife said he disappeared completely out of character. No public suicide note, nothing, just leaves his family in complete just understanding what happened to him. And then the other one was Melissa Casillas. She dropped her husband off at work. She returned home, realized she forgot her badge. And then she dropped off her daughter for lunch. And then next thing you know, that video cameras show her on State Route 518 with a backpack on her back. And her friends all say, and her sister says, that's not like her. She wouldn't just leave her daughter. She loves her and adores her daughter, and she would not leave her. And the niece said that all of her home belongings were there and her phones. What's common in all of these cases, all three of these, that they leave their phones and anything that's tracing them there. And 2 of them had guns taken with them. So they realize their life is in danger, and they get out of Dodge in a hurry, and then they disappear. So if these aren't suspicious, I don't know what is. And then the one, she was found 8,600 feet elevation, 1.5 miles up a slope, where the teams were searching, up on the ridge line, that a hiker found, a mountain climber. She's not a mountain climber. So it's like the scripture I just read you, where they're deposited, they disappear, and they're deposited high up on the ridge, and they're gone. And the book I told you about earlier, 3 Body Problem, that everyone was reading at Google when I was there, it opens with the scientists disappearing. That's how it opens. The Chinese version, if you watch the Chinese version, that's where it starts. The scientists are all disappearing. It's directly related.
Do you think that this is the result of human involvement, or do you think there's more to it?
I think that whether you like Tucker or not, it's irrelevant. But the most angry I have ever seen him is when he was interviewing the whistleblower David Grush, and David Grush admitted that our government had made an agreement with the aliens, and Tucker got red-faced. What do you mean we made an agreement? What is this? This isn't the Constitutional Republic. And he just he was furious. So apparently some agreement has been made. Think about that.
So you think that there was some sort of alien involvement regarding this then?
I don't know, but there's an agreement. And if there's, this is the point Tucker made, is if there's agreement, why weren't the public informed? And was it an agreement that's in our benefit or in our detriment? That's the whole question.
I get that. I can understand that, but I mean, the idea that the scientists are disappearing because UFOs are coming to get them, it seems a little far-fetched.
Well, I don't think UFOs are coming to get them, but they are disappearing. But I do think that that they are threats to this. You know, in the X-Files, Chris Carter, he admitted that screenplays were given to him for the X-Files by the CIA, someone, a whistleblower, to get the information out there. And in the X-Files, Philip J. Corso called him MJ12, and he listed the names. And Forrestal was one of them until he was shoved out of Bethesda Medical Hospital. Oh, committed suicide is what we're told. But I interviewed on the phone Linda Moulton Howe, and she said that she interviewed the family members, and they had someone look at the windows, and he was shoved with enormous force out those windows. So he was killed. Our first Secretary of Defense. So Philip J. Corso, just before he died, he wrote a book on this and named that group MJ12. But MJ12 unfortunately put out a bunch of false documents and with false signatures and stuff to make their own agency. It's like a wilderness of mirrors, right? So you can't even mention MJ12. So let's just use the word that X-Files uses for fiction. Syndicate. That's a good word. Syndicate. So the syndicate has Smoking Man and goes around with complete impunity killing people, like the scientists that are being killed now. That's kind of how it operates. And so, and unless this is like the biggest, if you want to deconstruct the deep state, the bureaucratic state, there's no bigger deep state than this, because it's literally, the president doesn't have control of it. The Congress is trying to get control of it, and they can't. So I think it's a legitimate effort to try to get to know what we're really dealing with. How can scientists take seriously UFOs if they laugh at them like I did? And then what happens when China or Russia advance by reverse engineering these, and they have their scientists taking them seriously, and ours are laughing? Where does that put us?
Oh, that's one of the big questions. Where does that put us, right?
Yeah, but it puts us at the biggest Manhattan Project failure ever, because we should be ahead of this, the scientists should be able to take it seriously, and they can't right now. And it's one of the reasons for the disclosure movement is so that we can look into it, find out what these really are, and have scientists study for answers, because that's the first step.
Do you think then, with the cover-up that is going on, that we will ever get the truth to what the government of the United States knows about UFOs?
Well, if the public gets outraged enough, like they did with the Epstein files, first they were nothing, and then later Epstein files, you find out Epstein's being delivered. Do you want 2 babies or 3 delivered? I bring in a boy and a girl, and then they're eating, killing, torturing, and eating, human tissue to stay young. It's shocking beyond belief. Initial files, they were nothing, and that's the same thing with the UFO files right now. They start off with absolutely nothing being released. And unless the public gets outraged about it, nothing's going to happen. And then plus they're shutting down anyone who speaks about it. My publisher, they had a book that probably would have been a bestseller by Sarah McCarthy. She interviewed the victims, Epstein victims, like Juliet Bryant. She knew them, so she interviewed them in depth in this amazing book. Took her 5 years to write it. And just to quote one line from it, she she's Juliet wakes up on this in this laboratory where she's being operated on. She's naked, and she's been drugged, but she wakes up and she's on this laboratory, and she sees this woman with a dark glossy hair and a flawless luminous skin, kind of like what you see in the Nordic alien things. But here's where it really gets amazing. She said she sees all these figures standing on either side of me watching, 6 giant figures in white hazmat suits, black visors, watching me in silence. Who are they? Where are they? Are they even human? Well, Juliet answered that recently, as was in Sarah's book. Juliet answered that recently in several interviews she did on video that people can find, where she said, I don't believe they were even human. So, and why would humans be in hazmat suits when they're taking ovaries from a woman anyway, which is what she claimed happened to her. So, and then the really shocking thing, which is beyond belief, I don't know if you can believe this or not, but I didn't believe UFOs. And so I'm a little more open now than I was to things that I can't imagine that sound too crazy. She says, people won't believe me, and this is just too crazy, but I saw it, and I can't help but say it. But she said Epstein shapeshifted, and she described a reptilian alien that he shapeshifted into. And so I asked the physicist, I said, could shape-shifting actually work? And he explained that it's somehow they're cloaking what they really are, and then it sends out, kind of like radio waves, except for light, where hits your eyes, so you see something that they're not. Anyway, so she claims that, which I think is like crazy, but let's just say that were true. Kind of like the UFOs when I didn't believe them. That would make Epstein alien, because humans can't do that. And if he said, as he said in the New York Times, he wanted to seed humanity with his DNA, which he said it's published in the New York Times, that is like the 200 abductees in John Mack's book that he interviewed, that all were having their eggs and sperm taken and were creating alien human hybrids. It's exactly the same thing. And the Epstein victims saw UFOs. That all fits together like a perfect puzzle.
So you think, if I get your theory correct, you believe it's all tied together, Epstein, UFOs, and the alien contact that goes along with it?
Yes, because they're, number one, the victims are seeing UFOs. Number two, he's got 3 homes in UFO hotspots. Number 3, he's got victims describe what happens to abductees, the same type of thing where they're creating alien human hybrids. Why else would people be in hazmat suits? And she says it didn't look human. So humans wouldn't be in hazmat suits operating.
But what about people who had nothing to do with the Epstein? Like, let's say a bunch of people in our audience who've had UFO or alien encounters.
Yeah, what about them? I don't get your
question. If they don't have any ties to it, would they be able to know that there is a correlation?
If they have no ties to Epstein?
Yeah.
Would they know if there's a correlation between Epstein and UFOs?
Right. If say they're abductees or used in alien human hybridization.
Well, again, back to John Mack's book. John Mack also had an untimely death. He was run over by a drunk driver, very conveniently timed for when Mack was coming back from a conference where he was speaking on these things with some friends, and the car was very good at hitting him and not the other two. So yeah, it was not an accident. Anyway, it took him out. But Mack said that of the 200 abductees that he interviewed, they have the exact same. You read all the accounts. I read all of them, and they have the same story. They're taking the sperm from the man, they're taking the eggs from the women, and they're creating these hybrids, and they show them the hybrids in these tubes. It's something right out of X-Files. Remember in X-Files and Redux?
Yes.
And they got the women on the beds and the aliens on the other beds, and they're crossbreeding them. Yeah. Well, Chris Carter admits he got those scripts by somebody in the CIA who leaked them. He didn't just make this stuff up out of whole cloth. Those scripts were handed to him. He said that. Go look it up. He said that. So that's why X-Files on the certain episodes were just wow. And others were just stupid monster stories. So he mixed, it's fiction. It's just like, it's like, the Seagraves, when they wrote Gold Hunters, they literally had an assassin go out and kill them. But Neil Stevenson put the same story in Cryptonomicon and told exactly the same story of the Japanese gold. And he didn't have assassins show up, but it's fiction. It was fiction. That's why. And fiction is telling a lot of truths right now.
Where do we go from here? What happens next with the UFO files, in your opinion? Because it looks like we're going to be getting another tranche released within the next week or so.
Yeah, so far there's been nothing of value in them. It's kind of like the Epstein files, same thing all over again. Public outrage is required. Remember how angry people got on the Epstein files? They said, "This is not it." People are writing to Congress people and everything. Yeah, the same thing has to happen.
Well, yeah, but what do you see coming next? Is there going to be another set of files outside of UFOs to try and kill this topic as well?
I don't know. But there can be no more important topic, because this literally redefines everything. It defines it should have been the biggest story in history. What's come out in the Age of Disclosure film, the 3 congressional hearings. If everyone watched those 3 hearings, especially the one that you couldn't find for a very long time, the Nancy Mace hearing, I believe that was November 12th, 2024. In those, they admitted UFOs are real. They admitted that they're injuring a lot of people. They didn't talk about the people dying, and there's lots of them. There's an island, Chloris, there's an island very similar to the island property that I purchased. In that the island property I purchased is very remote on the coast of Patagonia. And I didn't buy the whole thing. It's a national park. So I was 9 miles of the national park entrance. It was mine. So it's on this coast. It's remote, extremely remote. There's no one on the island. There's an island in Brazil the same way. Chloris, it's on the coast. It's in the delta of the Amazon. It has, in this case, a small village, and the UFOs attacked that entire village. 400 people, UFOs literally fried them. And 400 people were attacked, and 40 were seriously burned to where they had to go to the hospital, and 3 died. 2 to 3, depending on whose stats you look at. But yeah, it's horrific. And I don't know how dark we can go, but I've seen the blood-curdling photos of humans that are being cored out exactly like the cows now, humans in South America. So South America is like a front line of this that's happening. And they're not friendly. Or if you look at the nuclear incidents in total, if you look at the nuclear incidents, there's times like Lou Elizondo talks about both types. And you got, the times when they shut down the nuclear launch sites, and times they changed the launch codes. But there's also times that could have more in totality. There's far more incidents. There's a really good book by Robert Hastings, UFOs and Nukes. I don't know how much time we have. He wrote a 600-page tome that's case after case. It'll bore you to tears, but for people like me, it was amazing. where he interviewed these missileers, that's what they call them, for decades. And I asked ChatGPT how many cases in here, and it said hundreds. And I said,
hold that thought. We're going to go to break. Indy Pederson for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott. All right, we're clear.
Thurston, okay, sorry, I ran over you, but I didn't.
That's okay.
I didn't quite get the finger there.
Sometimes we just get going on this show, man, and you just run with it.
Yeah, I was trying to get it out quick.
Little Timmy Senor, how you doing, buddy? All right. Thurston Howell III, how are you? Give Lovey a hug for us if you don't mind. All right. I think we're all caught up there. It's going by quick, eh, Indy?
Yeah, I'm just scratching the surface.
How long were you on with Walter for?
Walter Sibo?
Yeah.
Not 2 hours. No, it wasn't 2 hours.
Did he get 15 minutes, 17 minutes?
No, he held me over. He found it really interesting, and I was only supposed to be on a really short amount of time, and then he ended up holding me over, and he ended with saying, "Boy, I'm gonna let the two of you," because he had Eddie on there with me, and Eddie's an expert in Epstein, and so the two of us were going like we were like this together, and he said, "God, I'm gonna leave the two of you on here to just talk endlessly about all this until you run out of material. I'll have you in here every single day," he said. Because the two of us, we knew everything about the Epstein files, and so we were going back and like this, and there's so much to those that I hate to even talk about it because people can't. It's truth that people can't handle.
Little Timmy Senor is on X, people. Tim, if you're still listening, get your butt into our chat room. People want to say hi to you. I came on about an hour after you were done. So I go on with Walter. Like, I will sign off here at 11:58. And then I will sign off, and at 12:05, I'll go on with Walter every night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Seems to like me. It's so funny how he found me, because like, I think it was about 3 years, almost 3 years ago now. 2 years for sure. Well, when was the last time we were in Vegas? Went to Area 51. That was 2023. Maybe 3 years, I guess. Holy cow. I get an email from this guy saying, all it says is, "I want you on my show. Would you like to come on as a guest to talk UFOs?" I was sure, not a problem. And he just kept calling. And even if I said, "Look, I can't do this night," he kept calling. Like, we were in Vegas, and we were coming back from Area 51, and my phone rings. We're in a packed car coming back, and I'm like, I gotta take this call, guys. Keep quiet here. And did a live hit as we were pulling back into the Golden Nugget. But then he went from once a week, where all of a sudden I'm on his show one night, and he goes, "And Dave will be back tomorrow night." And okay. And then I just started coming on every night. and the phone would just ring. And next thing I know, I'm 5 days a week. And then he moves from Philadelphia over to New York at WABC, and I'm there every night. And it's like, okay, I just go with it.
So did I mention that Sarah was Havana syndromed?
Yes.
Did I mention it on the air just a minute ago?
Yeah.
Oh, I did? Okay.
Yeah. 1 second here. We got about 15 seconds. Got about 15 seconds here, so just bear with me. I'm talking about WABC, Red Apple Audio Networks, everyone. We'll be on at midnight. Little Timmy Senor in the chat room. Nice to see you. President Zaddy, you know. Here we go. All right, here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're going to kick off this half hour, Indy Pederson, talking about UFOs, the discovery of weird things like Havana syndrome and Epstein files and everything in between. Indy, welcome back. His website, Sacrificing Humanity, where you can find his book, Sacrificing Humanity, Volume 1. The UFO is a portent of nuclear war. I want to quickly touch on that, Indy. How does the UFO become a portent of nuclear war?
The way the book starts, if I can quote scripture again, it's like a script that we're following, and it may not be a good one for humanity. But in Revelation 9, which I'm turning to here now, and the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. Well, first of all, stars cannot fall from heaven unto the earth because they have greater gravity, so that's impossible. But these orbs, they look like a star when it's coming down. It looks like that's exactly what it looks like when it's coming down to what I witnessed. And unto him was given the key of the bottomless pit. This is how the book opens. So most people think they launch with a button. It's not correct. I've got a picture show because I toured all these places. They're launched with a key. So this star falls from heaven, and it's given control, the bottomless pit. It's given the key to launch the. And you look down the silos. Bottomless would be like clear through the earth and not the other side, right? Well, if you were ever to dig a pit, this would be like the most bottomless pit because it just goes and goes, and it's dark. It's way dark down there, so it looks like a bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, so you see it open, and you see a picture of that. And there's smoke arose out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace. So you see the smoke coming up. And I also include like Dead Sea Scrolls where it talks about the arrows flying out of these bottomless pits and causing a massive destruction. And I found a culmination or a convergence of all the world prophecies of every religion. I even interviewed Hopi Indian prophets of this singular global calamity of fire. And it's not a good ending. It's not one we want. I have a couple neighbors that actually are looking forward to it, which is like crazy. Because I don't know why. Well, I do know why. They say Jesus is coming, so they want to go through the terrible part to experience. I mean, because that happens first. But so there's a script that we seem to be following, and these orbs are playing a major role in it, and that's how the book opens. And then a really key point is in the UFOs and nukes by Robert Hastings. He spent his life 600 pages of studying all these. I asked ChatGPT how many of these, how many actual events where the UFOs or orbs interrupted our nuclear equities, which is a term they use in the congressional hearings when they're talking about the interruption of those. And it said hundreds in that book. And I said, of these hundreds, ChatGPT, how many could have potentially caused a nuclear war? It said 10 to 20. Think about that.
Were they trying to cause one, or were they trying to see or show the military governments of the world, this is what we could do if you humans are stupid or get stupid?
If you look at the totality of it, because there's been times that they've shut off the launch facilities. There's been times where they changed the launch codes. There was a time when there was a missile traveling at 9,000 miles per hour in space, and one of those orbs goes around it and zaps it from, and that was in his book as well. So, but if you look at the totality, there's so many times that could have potentially very, very close to a nuclear war. There was a time when in Russia where they thought they were launching, and the UFO, they couldn't stop. They couldn't stop the countdown until the UFO flew away, and then the countdown stopped. There's times where the missileers that I interviewed had the same thing, where they thought they were in a nuclear war. So the problem with it is that it could potentially cause one, because if we react, it's almost like they're giving us free agency. It's like they're pushing us, nudging us towards it, and giving us free agencies, because we have to take the last step, which is to launch. But boy, are they ever pushing that inevitable result. And what's scary to me is it seems to be predicted in all the world's religions, literally all of them. I interviewed Thomas Banyaka, who is the spokesperson for the UN, and also the elected prophet, not elected, but he was chosen by the elders to be the prophet for the Hopis. And the same prophecies in there: fiery gourds fall from heaven, they go in their kivas, and from the disease for which there's no cure, like radiation sickness, and it's all there. I was one of the few humans to see the Hopi prophecy stones, a few white people, and there's this this jiggly line, and there's 3 great shakings, and the third great shaking is interrupted, and it very abruptly falls straight off to almost nothing. And the first 2 great shakings, it had symbols that represented the countries, including the swastika, which is an ancient symbol, by the way. So it even predicted on the stone, and they carry this through for thousands of years of tradition, where they remember verbatim. And then the last one is symbolized by red. And yeah. So it's in all the different prophecies. It's not a very good script. We need a new script. I don't know what it is, but I don't like that one. It doesn't end well.
How far away do you think we are from some sort of nuclear intervention with aliens? Do you think that's on the drawing board right now?
Well, they're certainly pushing it. It's interesting is what's been brought up by Luis Elizondo and David Grush as well in these congressional hearings. They've talked off air as well, which is even more instructive. Is they've said that these UFOs, UAPs is what they're calling them now, have started really showing up when we had the nuclear bombs, and they're gravitating to all our nuclear equities at an unbelievable. It's like they're constantly proving that they have complete control of our command and control systems, which is frightening. But it seems like they're letting us take the final step, but they do seem to be pushing us, and they're certainly not looking out for our good. As Corso said in his book that he wrote just before he died, it says said something to the fact that we knew that they weren't they weren't here to say we're friendly aliens. We come here to show you peace and security. No, he said we knew they were not good and that they were a serious risk. And the problem is that our leaders have lied to us for decades, and now they seriously put humanity at risk. And I think they realized how serious that risk is now. And now they're backtracking.
One of my theories on everything, and this may be a little controversial, I'm curious to get your opinion, is I think a lot of these newer names out there have taken a lot of the research from the older UFO people who've been doing this for decades. And because they're repackaging it with social media and getting the terrestrial news coverage from legacy media, I think we get a lot of times where a lot of people think that this information is theirs and theirs alone for study. We saw it with the Skywatcher group about what they called psionics, what everybody else had been calling for decades CE5 or summoning UFOs. I mean, do we not have to worry that the messages from previous ufologists who have studied this, spent their life on this, have been able or maybe having their information and their research kind of ripped off in order for this new wave of ufology to become more aggressive and popular with today's newfound interest in it?
Well, I think we're standing on the shoulders of giants, these people who came before us. Keel is one of my heroes because he called them tricksters. In that they will pretend that they're friendly and they're giving you prophecies and revelations, like like an example that happened with the bridge that collapsed. So they trick the people into believing that because they're getting true prophecies that these beings are good. And he, after spending his whole life studying this, came to the conclusion that they're not, that they literally are very deceptive, and they will convince you. So like Bledsoe and the UFOs and nukes, it didn't work out well for his family. Just read his story in the long run. And it gets worse as the longer they play with him. There's people that are playing with him. Stephen Greer is another. But in the long run, it doesn't work out well. And Keel, who spent his life on that, came to that conclusion. His word for them was tricksters. They will give you prophecies. The prophecies will come true. And then they've got you, and then watch out.
So in other words, you think it's like a big shell game for UFOs. Never mind the aliens or wherever they're coming from, but on a human side, a military side, a governmental side, it's a big shell game right now.
A shell game in terms of them moving around these pieces that I don't quite understand your question.
Well, it's a shell game for cover-ups for other technologies, money. Okay.
Oh, it's huge amount of technology. Literally, there could be real solutions for humanity with this technology. There's a really good documentary that people should see. Almost my neighbor, he's pretty close to me, lives close to me, Bob Lazar. It's called S4, the Bob Lazar story, where he talks. He was one of the people reverse engineering these craft. So, and that's an excellent documentary. There was 9 craft in there when he was reverse engineering them. He was a genius prodigy. When he was very young, he was picked to be in this program.
So who's telling the truth? In your opinion, who is telling the truth?
Well, I definitely believe Bob Lazar. I want to meet him sometime. He lives close to me. I'm just going to drive out there someday. And I think the disclosure movement is after the truth, because we've been lied to for decades about this, and it's put the public, the government's supposed to protect, at great risk of their lives and their health, because these things are killing people. And in terms of potentially causing a nuclear war, that's really serious. And confronting our fighter jets, those are all serious national security risks, very serious, and yet they've been covered up so that the syndicate, we'll call them, what the X-Files does as since they won't let us know what the real name is, can kill scientists with impunity, and that's got to stop. There's a lot more than 11 or 12. Stephen Greer talks about the CIA director Colby. When he was just sharing some UFO technology with him just within 1 week of the time that he disappeared. So, yeah. I don't know.
With 8 minutes to go here, do you think there is a solution over, let's say, the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, that we are going to be able to get any information regarding contact with UFOs or alien species? Or do you think that's the $64 million question where people are still going to be wondering about it for years to come?
I hope they do, because in South America, if what's happening down there with the people dying and people being cored out like cows, and an entire village in Colores being zapped by UFOs, with 400 people attacked and 40 serious burns. If you look at when you have this happening to cows worldwide, when you have Colores happening, when you have them starting nuclear countdowns in both Russia and here towards each other, when you have people being injured that go out on the sites, and 25 of the 100 that Gary Nolan studied are dead now. They're not looking out for our good, and there are serious risks, and there are national security risks, obviously. So I hope we get to the truth, because if we don't, it'll be a lot worse for us.
Let's get a couple audience questions here. Let's start off with Edwin, who is asking, when you had your encounter, did you have a camera in the car? Can you explain the shock that makes you not want to grab a camera?
My camera is my cell phone, and there's no cell towers in the South. So when I went down there, I would not even carry my useless cell phone, because it's absolutely useless down there. There was no cell towers. They're starting to put them in some areas down there now, but they're absolutely useless. So no, I didn't have a camera with me, nor a cell phone.
Isn't that always the case?
Yeah. Well, it was business. I was there for business. I wasn't there as a tourist taking pictures. I was on a serious business. I had an investor. Oh, I got to tell you one story before we go. This is a good
Please
one.
Do.
I'm building a $60 million resort project. So I got serious investors coming in. I know what the questions that they normally ask, because they all ask, questions that a typical investor would ask in such a thing. So I'm bringing this Morgan, as in the Morgan family, as in JP Morgan, the bank that just paid $290 million to Epstein victims for $1 billion in human product that they made and profited from, that ran through JP Morgan accounts. Anyway, taking one of the Morgans out, looking at, I didn't know all that at the time, out to invest in the island. And he's asking questions about caves, and he kept on asking about caves, and I got really frustrated, because even though he's paying all my expenses from that point on, I still had to drive that truck 1,300 miles down from Valparaiso down there to get there. So we're on the boat going out to the island, and I get pissed, and I said, "What's the deal with islands? Why are you looking at islands and not, I thought you were here for invest in this resort project." And he was, the body language told everything. He was very serious. He tilts his head back, looks towards space, and in a very serious tone said, "Because we have a lot of friends returning."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. I was stunned. I didn't say anything for the rest of the boat ride. I didn't know what to say after that. But he was serious.
How you'd respond to that?
I didn't know how to respond. I literally did not know how to respond. I was just stunned. And I didn't have any other questions after that.
Yeah, sometimes it just ends with your jaw dropped. That's for sure.
That was, my jaw was hanging down, I'm sure.
Let's go to John here. Indy, is these orbs of a plasma containment vessel from interdimensionals, or do you think it's from other realities?
I have no idea where they're from, but in the hearings, they said that there's hot zones where these craft, which are different than the orbs. So there's two different questions there, where the craft come out. So they claim they're coming out of the ocean. They're going in and out of the ocean, and they're probably down deep under in places like near my island. The cliffs just they're mountains. So they just keep on going down and down. It's the most vertical shoreline you can imagine. So they're really deep fjords. So they can hide down there and come out. And the cover of my book, if you look in sacrificinghumanity.com, you have to put in the whole URL, by the way, because Google's screening Sacrificing Humanity. Unlike any other book or any other website, it's search engine optimized and everything, but they say the sacrificing is a bad word that corporations don't use. Very bad word. So you have to put the whole URL. But on the cover, shows an AI generated saucer coming out of the ocean, which is where they believe they're coming from. So Congress testified to them coming from, they go from space to our atmosphere, transmedium, into the ocean at speeds that are completely impossible. And they go underwater at speeds, and when they hit the water at a speed that should turn anything to jelly from our physics is out the window. So in terms of plasma is short-lived in terms of ball lightning or piezoelectric effects. So those possibilities are kind of ruled out. It seemed to me like it was an engine when I looked inside of it, that's churning, and it's some sort of electrical fusion reaction. But it does look kind of like liquid churning around in there inside. That's how I describe it.
Let's get to you know what? We might not have any more time for one more question. We only got about a minute to go. And I was thinking maybe we could sneak one in, but I don't think we're going to have time. Do me a favor. Tell everybody, Indy, where they can find your book, how they can get a hold of you. And you know what? We want to make sure that the love is spread out there, so that way our audience can find your great work. So on Amazon, you have to, you can't just type in Sacrificing Humanity, at least I wouldn't bring it up. Maybe it does now because it's been slammed. But you have to type Sacrificing Humanity by Indy Pederson. That's it? Yep. And then, of course, your website, sacrificinghumanity.com, which is always a good look. And hey, it's a different look at ufology. It's a different look at the severity of this topic. And I want to say a big thank you, Indy Pederson, for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. I'm glad Walter M. Sterling said I had to get you, because this was absolutely great to have you on this show. Thank you for having me. It was fun. Absolutely. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, we are going to get into Swamp Dweller, because He always kicks things off for hour 3. Then the Grantavious one, Grant Baker, will be here for a jam-packed UFO report. His mustache is ready for the UFOs.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Great job tonight, Indy. Thank you very much. You can still hear me. We appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. And there he goes. All right. I'm sure he's welcome. We're glad to have him. We'll be right back.
Stop now! You're under arrest! Hands up! Don't move!
Don't get caught without your Spaced Out Radio merchandise. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, socks, hats, stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can look the part? We don't have ugly merch, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Dirty filth. Dirty filth. Dirty filth.
Object is heading north 045 degrees. It's definitely not a plane. It seems to be tethered to something. Is that a banner, Joe? Caribou Con. Does anyone know what Caribou Con is?
Caribou Con, one of the BC Caribou region's best-kept secrets. Until now. Join our panel of renowned paranormal experts for a weekend of fun and intriguing presentations. Go to cariboucon.com to book or inquire now.
Over here. Look at this.
Discover Spaced Out Radio on all your favorite platforms. We're live every single night with the best in UFOs, cryptids, paranormal, and the unexplained. And you can find us on all your favorite platforms. Head over to Instagram for behind the scenes and daily weirdness, TikTok for quick mind-bending clips, Facebook for community discussions, and X for real-time updates and hot takes. Wherever you scroll, Spaced Out Radio is there. So go search Spaced Out Radio on every platform, hit follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single episode. The weird is waiting. See you there.
The McNeil House is one of several buildings at the 108-mile heritage site said to be haunted by spirits of a time long forgotten. But would you stay the night? Along with guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations, Haunted 108 is offering a chance to spend the entire night inside the historic McNeil House by booking one of our B&B style sleepovers, where you can experience the hauntings firsthand, meet the resident ghost cat, and witness unusual activity. If you dare to turn history into a night you'll never forget, book your spot now at haunted108.com. Spots are limited. Will you be brave enough?
And on that note, let's bring in the Grantavious one. There he is. Look at that fake mustache he has on. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible, but I love it. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, bud. It's been a long few days, I'll tell you that.
That's what you get for camping on the Father's Day.
Yeah.
Look how happy he looks, people. Look how happy he looks. Fake mustache and all, spending the time with his family because his wife hates his mustache. And there's a big debate on whether or not he can grow one or not. Oh. Kitty Cattywhack, our lone super chat of the night. Thank you very, very much for your love. We're coming back in 5 seconds. Here comes the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Widdershins. Widdershins is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. These experiences occurred at Lake Gogabik in Michigan from 1994 to 1996. I've lived in Michigan all of my life and never been interested in moving anywhere else. My family is here. It is and always will be my home. And during the time span, I was accustomed to hiking along the side of the lake where the brush was thin enough to allow me to do so. There was some private property along the shoreline as well that I avoided by cutting through the woods and coming back toward the lake once I passed. I always wondered if people thought I was a bit creepy, just bumbling through the woods. But I did wear a backpack and hiking boots. I'm sure folks that did see me knew what I was doing. Anyway, in 1994, one Saturday morning, I woke up at about 5 when it was still dark out and got my stuff together. I packed some granola bars as I planned to have a peaceful breakfast on the edge of the lake while watching the sunrise. Nothing beats it. After a 30-minute drive, I was exactly where I wanted to be, under a rich canopy, in the faint shadows cast by a rising sun. But something felt different. Something felt wrong. Now, before I continue, you must know I had been walking in those woods and next to that lake at least 500 times. I've never once had an eerie feeling while I was out there. But that day, something was different. I felt like I was being watched. At least a dozen times I stopped to listen. I would look around to see no one or anything out of place. Maybe I was still tired or something. Well, I kept on walking, and no longer after, I swear I heard footsteps behind me again. I turned to see who it was, and there was still no one there. The trees were still. There was no wind. I was alone. I started again walking toward the edge of the water. I was starving and ready to have a seat and start eating. And again, those footsteps came from behind me. "Who's there?" I called out to the motionless forest that surrounded me. No one replied. Waiting for about 15 minutes, I stood as calmly as I could. But to be honest, I was starting to feel more and more uneasy by the second. After hearing nothing, I took a few steps toward a cozy-looking rock by the bank and sat down. I peeled the wrappers from my breakfast and had at it, taking swigs of bottled water in between bites and whistling a tune here and there. What I didn't expect was to hear someone whistling back to me. I stopped, almost choking on my granola. My body was covered in goose flesh. As I slid around the rock to face the forest, there was still no one there. Now, more curious than afraid, I drank another gulp of water and whistled again. Once more, after a few seconds, the same tune whistled back to me, plain as day. It was either my first time ever hearing an echo out on this lake, or someone hiding in the woods was trying to scare me. One more time, I whistled expecting to pinpoint exactly where this mimic cry was coming from. This time, the tune came from directly behind me. I fell forward off the rock and faced the direction it came from while crawling away backward.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Thousands of stories for you to listen to each and every night as we get ready to go from the swamp to the stars. Here is the UFO report. Grant Baker is here.
Staring at the stars tonight. Signals shining in the sky. Grant's got the stories breaking through. What's hidden now comes into view. From distant lights to secret files, mystery threats of nothing else. Latest revealed, every signal slowly peeled. So tune in close, don't miss the facts. UFO facts, we've got your becomes a song.
Grant Baker hanging on out on the UFO report. Grant, I know you are worn out after a week long of Father's Day festivities out in the camping in the wilderness of beautiful state of Oregon. How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good, man. It's good to be back. Thank you so much for having patience with me on my very long camping trip.
Yeah, I guess the drive home you were saying wasn't too friendly.
Well, there was a little bit of an upset. We left around 11 o'clock or noonish, I guess, from Brookings, Oregon. We were going to take 199 to Grants Pass, and a semi-truck, which I did see the truck. I finally did get to it, had wrecked up there on the hill. And these are very dangerous corners, very, very slow going hairpin corners, but it was full of apple juice. So if you look at the 199 wreck today that happened, I got to witness not the wreck itself, but the aftermath of it. I did not get any apple juice, unfortunately.
I'm sure the bees are loving it, though.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the bees are like, hey, man, we just got free sugar.
Yeah, that is gallons awesome. Of apple juice.
We're glad you're here. The wizard filled in for you last week, which was always very nice when the wizard comes on in. I got to say something really cool before we get going. So one of my side projects is called Haunted 108. And, you know, it's a project that we are trying to create paranormal tourism up here. And this past weekend, we actually had our first set of guests have an overnight stay. Yes. Ooh. Yes. So you go to haunted108.com, check it on out. And we have one of the most haunted locations in British Columbia here. And let's just say they went home very, very happy. They're amateur history buffs, they're amateur paranormal buffs, and we gave them a tour to remember. Just this beautiful couple out of the Okanagan of British Columbia, who was driving all around doing a history run of the Gold Rush Trail. And they stopped in and they're like, hey, we want to check this out. We want to do this. And they got some ghosts, which is nice. They got some ghosts, man. So pretty happy about it.
Oh yeah, it's always good when you go in and you're hoping that you're going to catch something, and then you do. Then that makes it so much better.
Absolutely. And a shout out to one of my researchers. I'm a videographer, Mike, for getting everything done. He took them on the tour all night long, and they had a great time. I think we're going to get a nice 5-star rating out of it for our first time doing it. And they loved the facility. The beds were comfortable. And best part about it is, you know what? There's room for more.
Awesome.
And people are starting to book. Go to Haunted 108. That's 108.com. Haunted108.com. Get your overnight experience with us. It's going to be amazing. Going to be amazing for you. So let's get to some UFOs, Grant, because it has been very, very busy in the world of ufology. And I know you've been keeping up to date with everything. So where should we start? Let's start here. Let's start here. Guess what, people? You're not going to believe this. On the heels of the movie Disclosure Day, Jerry Bruckheimer is apparently opening up another UFO movie. What do you think about this, Grant?
Oh, this one's actually really cool. It's really neat because when you actually look at what it says there, it's Eddie Q's in it, Jerry Bruckheimer, and they were originally talking about the F1 sequel. And but in there, and if you read through the article, the UFO thriller is at the Canes Lions. It's really neat that they're going to get in there and make something about UFOs. And then you have two massive takeaways from this. When you have Bruckheimer and honestly Eddie Q, basically the headline focuses on F1. And then they drop this huge bombshell about how completely different, the other project that they're looking on. And there's a quote here. It says, kind of all of the president's men about what the government has been hiding about UAPs all these years. And that's what he was describing it as. And so you have an F1 sequel with tech integration, but then now we're talking about another based off a true story film coming out instead of just like a sci-fi thriller. That's a huge shift, by the way, especially when you're approaching the UAP topic, and especially through the lens of a political investigative journalist. And it's really neat to see them do this. I think I would like to watch the movie. I mean, they did Top Gun Maverick, isn't that Bruckheimer's?
I don't know if it's Bruckheimer, but
that's
done
Kaczynski.
A lot of great films over
Kaczynski. Yeah.
Bruckheimer goes on to say, it's kind of like all the president's men about what the government has been hiding. What's been going on with UAPs or unidentified anomalous phenomena all these years? We found these two gentlemen who were working for the government and couldn't quite figure out what was going on, seeing these anomalies, kept asking a lot of questions and had a lot of doors shut up. Yeah. So apparently they plan on going for it. You know what? And if I'm a movie maker with the pull that somebody like Bruckheimer has, I'm definitely making a UFO movie right now. It's a hot button topic for a lot of people coming off the heels of Disclosure Day. And I think, why not? If I'm a movie maker and I'm looking for my next hit film, I'm doing this. I'm totally doing this.
Yeah, I like it. I would love to see it.
Me too. All right. Let's move on here. Because you know what? From Hollywood, we're going to move on. Where do you want to go next?
You know, Anna Paulina Luna has something really interesting to say. And speaking about videos and movies. And she's revealing the most, what in the article says, alarming UFO video she's ever seen. And this is one that keeps her up at night. And there's a quote. It was an FBI document. A spherical disc appeared in a flash of light and then disappeared. The FBI was and is seriously looking into this, and we can't explain it. The phenomenon does not exist, has been disproven. It does. The FBI could not explain the case. And the document details a stunning eyewitness account from a drone pilot. There was a metallic linear spherical object estimated to be between 130 and 195 feet long. Holy mackerel. And that had materialized instantly out of a blinding, brilliant flash of light in the sky. This is kind of like the, what is that, Philadelphia experiment kind of stuff? A portal. So after hovering and remaining visible for roughly 5 to 10 seconds, with the witness noting distinct visible bands within the intense light, it abruptly went out and the massive craft vanished into thin air. What makes this specific file so alarming to lawmakers isn't just the visual of the craft, it's actually the investigative conclusion, because the FBI took the report super seriously. They investigated it thoroughly and ultimately had to log it as completely unexplainable. I mean,
here's the thing. This is what bugs me about this report, because I love this report. I really do. If politicians like Anna Paulina Luna are going to continue dropping these wow factor type of reports, show us. We don't need Walter Cronkite interviews in tranches. We don't need, AI renderings of photos or AI renderings of videos of scenes that have happened. This is what really picks my hide about this whole UFO disclosure. When you hear Luna, or you hear Tim Burchett or Eric Burleson especially, they come out there and they talk with all this political bluster about these topics. And look, I know I've said this many a time before on this show, but if this is what's being seen and there is evidence of this, that's what we need to see as the public. If you can't show it, stop talking about it. Right?
That's very true. We're still waiting for more. They're not going to show us something like that. I mean, I wish they would. That would be great. Or the politicians would be more of a whistleblower themselves and say, hey, you know what? That's cool. Thanks for talking to me about this in a skiff. And they should go out and be like, hey, look at this. It'd be great.
It's kind of going to a candy store where they give you a sample. And then you want another sample, but they say, no, you can just get one. I don't like that. Whatever happened to supermarkets? Remember, I don't know if they still do that in the US, where you go to the supermarket and they actually have the sample stands.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Do that up here anymore.
Yeah. The Winco, or not Winco. Well, every now and then you see Winco. I know Costco does it still. And there's days where you have everything under the sun that you can sample, and they'll give you as much of it as you want. They really don't mind, especially when you're a kid.
I like the samples.
Yeah.
I like the samples.
See's Candy gives out samples. I know that.
Oh, man. Yeah, I haven't been to Costco in years. I don't even have a Costco card.
Oof, you need one. You need to find a Costco.
Dude, the closest Costco to me is like 2 hours away.
Yeah, mine's only maybe an hour, maybe a little less.
either way, I miss samples. I do. I really do. You know, it's like that old Ron Swanson ad about vegan bacon, where I'll try one of those, and then he just picks it up and throws it in the garbage. May I try another?
Exactly. I love that scene so bad. That's it's so awesome. And he just keeps throwing them away. Didn't they say no? And then someone else was like, "Can I try one of those?" And she threw one away too. It's great. I love it.
Well, I think we're getting into a little bit of a political epidemic with verbal vomit regarding this subject.
Yeah.
I don't know about you and our audience out there, but I think we're at the point after that last tranche, and especially if tranche number 4, which is supposed to be coming either later this week or next week, the next drop of UFO files. If this next drop is as bad as the previous drop, Grant, I think the public's tuning out. I think the media is tuning out. And I think that's exactly the ploy that they're trying. But the verbal diarrhea really needs to stop about what they're seeing compared to what we're getting. I mean, they're showing us a Lamborghini or telling us about a Lamborghini and showing us, a 1970s Ford Pinto.
Yep. What's behind curtain number 1? No, they need to give us more evidence. And I believe you're right when it comes to the tranches. Excuse me. The worst thing that they're doing right now is just a bunch of connect the dots, a bunch of dot watching. And nobody wants to do that anymore. They're not giving us anything. These tranches are less than low-hanging fruit. This is the garbage that literally falls off the tree and is just sitting there on the ground and getting stepped on by the deer. I mean, this is getting that bad. You are correct in that one. Now, if they wanted to hide a couple good ones in there, put out 60,000 pages and have one page or one video that is just holy mackerel, that'd be great. Give us something. Give us one thing. That's all I ask for. But I believe you're right.
One. But apparently even one is so hard. And it makes me wonder, Grant, whether or not we are seeing the end of the files.
Right.
Okay. The last couple sets of files, the videos, the photographs, they all look like man-made objects.
Mm-hmm.
Which we call UAP. Unidentified anomalous phenomena. I don't know if they want to show us the UFOs. They keep talking about it. But in the end, they're either trying to play us for stupid or they're trying to play us for some sort of other program that might be coming up that we don't know about.
Maybe. We just got to wait and see. I agree with that, though.
Or, as Nicole says in our chat room, maybe they're slowly but surely going to show off all the new Space Force toys. That would be nice. That would be very nice. But, it's funny how this has gone. Like, people literally thought that this was going to be a major, major overhaul in what we've learned in ufology in the past, which is nothing. We've only heard stories. So now we get to the point where we need to be able to look at this and call their bluff on it as the public. And the sad part about it is, as we get ready to wind down and go to break here at the bottom of the hour, Grant, is if we continue to tune out, that also plays into their hand where they can now sweep it under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
And the unfortunate part about it is we have a media that is so uneducated about this topic outside of a couple of people. They are so uneducated about this topic. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know where to turn for their next subject matter, because they don't want to play with the ufology people, because those people are icky. You know, they're tinfoil hat wearing people. We're beyond that. We're big time journalists. But guess what? I was there too, but I never shot down a fellow person who knew more than I did. Spaced Out Radio's final half hour of the UFO report with our good friend Grant Baker is next.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
All right, buddy, we're clear.
All right.
I still like the word tranche.
It's a good word.
Yeah. I got Bigfoot silly putty for Father's Day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Called Bigfoot goo. I can't stop playing with it.
That's funny.
What I've been playing with the whole time is like Bigfoot goo.
Oh, it's actually kind of metallic looking.
It is. Kind of shiny purple.
I like it. Did it come in a foot?
No, it came in a little container. Like this. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me.
My boy turns 13 at 8:46 in the morning.
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
I like that age. Everybody calls me nuts. I mean, I got a 15-year-old that, yeah, not all the kids are great that age. But my daughter and my other son, they're all going to have their own different experiences, but 13 is usually a good age. And then I got a 8-month-old now, and that's a good age too.
They got the 8-month-old. He's got the pudgy cheeks going on.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big time pudgy cheeks. Okay, let's get rid of this. Oh, gosh. I am so I am so over traveling. Holy mackerel.
Well, don't go pulling a sleepy Bob and fall asleep on us here in the next half hour.
Did Bob do that?
Oh, he's done it a couple of times on this show.
That's funny. Oh, goodness. I'm going to stay awake. It's just been a really long week. That is too many days in a row to go camping.
Now, people's in the chat room. Let's bring it down a notch. Bring it down a notch, maybe 2. Don't make me shake my finger at you guys.
Now I can read it.
Where are we here? We got about 90 seconds.
Sweet. We're going with Gallaudet.
I had ice cream cake tonight from Dairy Queen.
That actually sounds really good.
Big fan of the ice cream cake. I don't even cut it, man. I just dig right in.
I wish now I wish they were open right now so I could go
Oh,
get
dude,
one.
ice cream cake is the best. Ice cream cake is the absolute best. Koozie, welcome to SOR chat. Marie Nielsen on Facebook. Thank you for tuning in. $30 seconds. Kitty Cattywhack is our lone super chatter tonight. Thank you to everybody. If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. Helps with the algorithms. Brent Von Owen, our resident Dutchman, is here. Come back in 5 seconds, Grant. All right, final half hour of tonight's show is the UFO report. Grant Baker, the Grantavious one, hanging out with us. We're having a good time. And let's go over to the Black Vault. John Greenwald did some great work about Tim Gallaudet. What's going on there?
Oh man, this one's actually really great, especially when you start reading through it. So there's a newly, excuse my language there, released Freedom of Information Act, also known as FOIA, from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, also known as NOAA. Offers a limited but useful look at UAP-related keywords that those hits found in the email records of Dr. Timothy Gallaudet. He was the former Assistant Secretary of the Commerce for Oceans and Atmosphere, acting Under Secretary of Commerce for Oceans and Atmosphere, acting NOAA Administrator, and Deputy NOAA Administrator. All right, so this was a really interesting request. It saw all the emails sent to, from, or copied to Gallaudet between the October 25th of 2017 to January 20th of 2021 that contained a series of UFO and UAP related terms. And here's a few of these terms. Let's see. Unidentified aerial, unidentified anomalous, arrow, including, even though arrow predated that date range, there was UAP, UAPTF, UFO, unidentified flying, AOI MSG, Elizondo, and Grush. These dates were chosen as they coincided with his time at NOAA. A second FOIA request was filed with the Navy, which is still open. The final response date is May 6, 2026. Stated that the agency located 51 responsive records totaling 245 pages. According to the agency, 167 pages were released in full, while 78 pages were released with redactions under the FOIA exemption B-6, which protects personal privacy. NOAA states that the request was complete, and it goes on. They even give a little thing in here, a blurb of what they were talking about. While this doesn't actually reveal government discussions about UAP programs, it does provide a glimpse into the information ecosystem surrounding the issue and the material that was reaching Gallaudet during his time at NOAA. Among the more notable emails, there was one about Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, or UAPTF. And let's see, where does it say here? It was sent by his phone. There was a interagency, Tim Gallaudet, B-6. Dude, this is amazing. Let's get the answers. We're ready. These are blurbs on here on the little tear-offs that they have of some of these letters. In August of 2020, There was an email that Gallaudet wrote. I told you that I'm on another interagency ESC, chaired by the chair of this TF. Oni's Co. I will. The reference appears to indicate that Gallaudet was serving on a separate interagency executive steering committee, which is what the ESC stands for, chaired by the same Office of Naval Intelligence official who was leading the UAP task force at the time. While the email does not suggest that Gallaudet himself was a member of the UAPTF, it does show an awareness of the task force and a professional connection to leadership. Let's see, there's a whole bunch more here. Have you gone through this yet, Dave? This is so
I've gone
much.
through some of them.
Holy mackerel. So when you're looking at, like the interagency connections, the UAPTF, I'm going to steer away from that. That's kind of a notable one. That shows that while he wasn't an official member of the Office of Naval Intelligence UAP Task Force, he sat on a separate executive steering committee chaired by the same exact ONI office, or the official that was leading that task force, which was Rear Admiral Kelly Ashbach. I think I said that right. The email implies that Gallaudet intended to use that professional bridge to get answers on the UAP issue. It also proves his awareness of the government's internal UAP network that extends beyond simple media reports, and while it's still largely operating out of the public eye. Then you have consuming the public disclosure. So the rest of the 51 response records, they're all in there. Spanning 245 pages, shows him actively tracking and trying to, get a public narrative here. He forwarded a New York Magazine article featuring retired Navy Commander Chad Underwood, the pilot who filmed the Fleur Nimitz video, adding the comment, "Gotta read this," in exclamation point. His inbox contained mainstream tracking of the topic, including the 2020 New York Times piece on Senator Harry Reid's efforts. What's interesting is his network was also calculating critical reporting, such as a piece for The Intercept, questioning Lou Elizondo's role at ATIP, showing they were looking at the counter narrative too. This thing is just thick with all kinds of stuff. So Greenwald points out that there actually is a pretty fascinating contrast with Gallaudet's November 24 congressional testimony. In front of the House Oversight Committee, Gallaudet detailed a famous January 2015 incident where a commander of the Naval Meteorology and Oceanography Command, he received an urgent safety of flight issue email on all the Navy secured networks containing the Go Fast video. And that email, he claims, vanished from his account the next day. That's one of those things. I don't understand why they just are able to delete those things. And I hate it. But while the 2015 Navy email obviously, wouldn't show up in the specific FOIA due to date constraints, Greenwald does note that the NOAA records contain absolutely no follow-up discussion, mentions, or casual references to that 2015 encounter, the Roosevelt Strike Group event, or his underlying safety of flight concerns from the Nimitz videos, which are now popular today, and almost everybody understands the Go Fast Gimbal and Tic Tac video. So we'll wrap it up with the current status on this one. Greenwald, he's basically what we're doing here is it's noting that the NOAA request is considered complete. The companion FOIA request he filed with the U.S. Navy covering the same exact keywords is still wide open and has been significantly more problematic to process. They're kind of being mum's the word, keeping it close to the chest. The Navy release will likely be the one to watch for more substantial and operational military traffic. It's kind of like the tranches we're getting now. Hopefully they'll give us a little bit more, or give them a little bit more. So, I mean, honestly, if you want to dig into the raw text yourself, Greenwald did upload the full 80 pages. It's like 8 megabytes of redacted PDF release package. And it's at the bottom of the article. If anybody's interested, go check that out. It's pretty cool.
John Greenwald does some great work at digging all of this information up. And one thing that I can say about John is, you know, he has no point of preference on it. He's pushing out what the information from the FOIA requests that he puts out there are proving and providing at this time. So kudos if you want to check it out for yourself. Blackvault.com is the website, blackvault.com. Make sure you check it on out, and it's always good to do that. Always good to do that.
Yeah.
All right, next up, apparently aliens walk among us, my friend. This comes from Sarah Gam. What do you think about this one?
Well, when I read this, it was kind of like, what the heck? So here's the quotes from her. This is Sarah Gam. They have it highlighted as a bombshell. She said, I have met non-human intelligence in public, and there is a place where it is known they are present. Could this be a portal? And I want to go there now. So who's going there with me? So the former UAP task force analyst claims she encountered non-human intelligence walking among us in Washington, D.C. In the interview, she comes clean about a personal encounter with two such beings. They were humanoid enough to blend in while wearing disguises, but their eyes revealed something clearly off. Her contact confirmation that NHI, or non-human intelligence, live in certain U.S. locations, humans enough to walk, and they look human enough to walk around undetected. The energy of that encounter was very interesting and suggests these advanced entities may be closer than most realize. So this is one of those things, like if you want to look in the anomalous phenomena of the UAP, especially everybody's buzzing about this one, but the account that she has and the setting is off, but I like where she's going with it. So, it's most notably that, and this was on Ross Coldhart, and she was on another show as well. The encounter took place in an area of Washington, D.C. That doesn't surprise me. She claims that the two individuals who looked mostly humanoid were wearing standard clothing to blend into the crowd. However, she did state that their eyes were noticeably off, and that was a quote, lacking normal human micro movements or expression. The energy, she described feeling a distinct, intense energy shift during the interaction, which gave her an immediate, overwhelming intuition that she was not looking at a regular human being, but rather non-human intelligence. And while the idea of a physical portal or wormhole is a popular theory to explain how these beings might show up, Gam frames the phenomenon a little bit differently. She leans heavily into the idea of interdimensionality and consciousness, rather than like a science fiction doorway, like, I don't know, Stargate or something. Metal and lights. Many modern UAP researchers and experiencers theorize that there are portals, and they may be localized areas where the fabric between our dimension and theirs is a little bit thinner, where entities can just manipulate human perception to appear physically present. Gam herself often speaks about her background as a psychic medium, arguing that interacting with NHI involves a mix of physical reality and heightened consciousness, or psionics. And let's see. There's also what she considers safe zones. And there was and this is kind of striking, particularly, there was an aspect of her claims and that she has an idea of an isolated incident. According to Gam, she has information or contacts suggesting there are specific known geographic locations across the United States where these entities reside or frequent, essentially living alongside humanity completely unnoticed by the general public. And I mean, that's pretty killer.
It really is a ton of information that nobody would really suspect.
Right.
It's very difficult to try and even fathom that aliens are walking among us, even though we've heard the rumors for years. I mean, there was the old story out of Las Vegas where the aliens would come down, land at Area 51, and then all of a sudden they would get a bus ride into, I believe it was the old Sahara, where they would go hang out in the casinos of old Las Vegas in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So, I mean, we do have that. And I think it's very interesting about how she's saying that this is so matter of fact. Now, Sarah Gam is a little bit of a controversial figure in the UFO / UAP community. She's one of the many people who's come out of the woodworks recently over the last couple of years regarding, her knowledge of everything. And it's kind of funny because she's a scientist, but she does come at this from a real woo side of everything too. So when you combine the two, it makes you wonder if there's a little bit more truth than fiction there, Grant.
Oh, there definitely could be. I mean, just like you said, there was a reality checkpoint, especially with who she is, what she does. There's no. It's fascinating. Like you said, it's highly controversial. There's layers going on to this, but the nuts and bolts of somebody, literally just a physical being hanging out like that's intriguing to me. And I don't care how we got to get there. If we got to have heightened intelligence or heightened consciousness, raise our, what do they call it? Raising your vibration. If I can do any one of those things to go meet these entities, that I would definitely be involved in that. No problem.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you, Grant. And where we have to look at this too, with this kind of this, I mean, we got to call it a story. There's no evidence or proof of it, but I mean, it is something that Sarah Gam, is very vocal about. Is you have to wonder about these hotspots. If there are these congregations of areas where the UFOs are coming in, where they're landing, maybe like you were just out camping for the Father's Day week that you do annually. Maybe there is some sort of congregation at some unknown location where these aliens meet up for an Earth party. I mean, as funny as that sounds, why can't it be possible?
It definitely can be. And I mean, honestly, if we had the ability to go through portals or different dimensions, I mean, why not make a family trip out of it? Like someone had said that they had this fantastic machine. It was like a ship. And I can't remember who had said this. It might have been Anka and Bashar, but there's a dimension ship. And it literally, all it does, it's like an elevator that just ferries you through dimensions. If that was real all day long, I would be, yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Valerian?
No, I don't watch a lot of movies, man.
Oh, you got to watch that one at least. I'll send you a link. You got to watch that one. You wouldn't catch what I'm talking about, but watch that movie. You'll like it. Do we have enough time for a smaller one?
We do. We got about 3.5 minutes.
Oh, good. So you already, I don't know if you've already talked about this, but on June 17th, 2026, Avi Loeb, Harvard astrophysicist, Dr. Avi Loeb, announced that he is leading a newly formed UAP Science Advisory Council. Yeah.
What's your thoughts of that? I mean, considering there's a lot of controversy there, especially around Dr. Michael Shermer, the skeptic extraordinaire, who's literally been very insultive at times towards the UFO community over the years.
Yeah. I don't know. This is the private sector that's doing this, and I know he's he's avid. He's been on many new shows lately. He's been doing the circuit again, and I've watched him a couple of times. There's not a lot coming out of there, so this is just maybe just a new stance that he's doing. What it's saying here is there's a multidisciplinary team composed of experts in physical science, biology, and psychology. They're reporting directly to the newly installed interagency UAP governance board. Their explicit mission is to take the unclassified data being dumped by the Pursue Initiative, run rigorous private sector scientific analysis on it, and help the government determine if these objects represent severe national security threats or the biggest discovery ever made in human history. Yeah, you know how many people are doing that on their own? The concession here, though, is the files aren't just modern cases. The June drop also featured legacy CIA files containing an internal confession from 92. The CIA admitted that they deliberately used Project Blue Book to give the public false explanations for UFO sightings in the 50s and 60s to protect top secret U-2 and Oxcart spy planes. Yeah, but I don't know. Avi Loeb, he's spinning it up again. I'd like to see where it goes. I pay attention to him. He's a really nice guy. Means well. I mean, if they got better equipment and, I don't know. There's millions of us right now that are looking at these tranches that have come through. Millions of us.
Over 1 billion people have viewed them.
Yeah, see, and I'm glad somebody's doing something, but there's a lot of us looking at it, and I'm sure there's a lot of smart people out there that are tearing this stuff apart and trying to figure out exactly what these things are.
Problem is, you can bring in all of these groups no matter what you want to bring in. They're not there for the public.
No.
The only way that people like you and me and our great audience are going to get for information, Grant, is if we dig it up ourselves.
Yep.
That's it. And if we're looking that the government is going to disclose or that these scientists are going to disclose for us because they're going to get to the bottom of it for us, we got to remember they're under government contract, which means they can look all they want, but they can't touch the toys and tell us about it. Grant Baker, it is always good to have you on Spaced Out Radio. Another great UFO report. We will talk to Grant in a couple of days' time with another update because the UFO news is ever changing around these parts, and we want to keep you all up to date. So thank you very much, Grant, as we say hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio, Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friend,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. All right, little Granty Baker, good job.
You too, brother. You carried me all the way through that one.
Oh, I know I did. I know I did, especially when I was very distracted. Made my job really tough today.
I appreciate you.
No problem. Get to bed, buddy.
Oh, yeah, I love you, brother. I'll listen to you on WABC, though. Everybody else, hit that like button, please. See you tomorrow.
There we go. All right, everybody. Thank you to Kitty for our great super chat tonight. We really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who has hit like and subscribe and given us a thumbs up. It really helps with our algorithm. So thank you very, very much. I got to get ready for Walter M. Sterling tomorrow night on the show. Where are we here? Tomorrow night on the show. Daryl Denton is going to join us, talk a little Bigfoot and Dogman. I know you love his southern drawl from Tennessee. The Tennessee Bigfoot hunter will be here. So we will see you all tomorrow night. And thank you very much. Take care.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.